Welcome to Momentum's virtual training series, where we invite expert facilitators to share their knowledge on topics that advance women in leadership.
Today in our virtual training with Bettina Benson with Chloe Kristyn. She has created her own clothing design and she is amazing. We were talking about you the other day, Bettina, of how you carry yourself with such confidence and poise and how you're just a giver. You've got a generosity mindset and really appreciate that in you. So I don't want to take up a lot of time of where you can share about all the things you have done. Thank you for being here talking to us today about branding. And thank you to our sponsors who have given us this opportunity to do this and to reach women everywhere. So, Bettina, I'm going to pass this off to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darla. And thank you to the entire Momentum team for hosting me and having me today. I came to connect with you through a member of Momentum about a year ago. And I just believe that your mission and the work that you do for other women is needed, and it's amazing and it's admirable. One of the things that really spoke to me is with Momentum, it's not just about the outside and the tactical and the career. It's also about the inside work as well. And that's something that I truly believe in. And I will cover that as well in my presentation. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Get to the presentation. Okay, can everybody see? Darla, are you able to see the screen? Okay. So I'm here to discuss with you unlocking the power of personal branding and aligning style with authenticity. When I first started my company, I understood the importance of personal branding, and I was very passionate about that. But it wasn't until my journey through being an entrepreneur, as well as being a mother, a founder, that I really saw where the alignment of who you are, even though we evolved several times with your style and personal brand, is really where you unlock and are able to show up as your fullest self. So I'm Bettina Benson, founder and creative director of Chloe Kristyn and the Modern Abstract. And before I get into talking a little bit more about myself, what we're going to cover in this presentation is the evolution of personal branding, navigating some challenges that, I'll share my journey, challenges that I faced as I kind of came into and grew into my authentic personal brand, and some of the challenges that you might be facing, finding your strengths and unique value, and then how we're going to put that all together to build an authentic personal brand, how we can share our personal brand story and ultimately be empowered through our authenticity. So who am I? I'm a deeply devoted to getting in touch with, nurturing, and fostering the deepest parts of myself so that I can enjoy being present in the roles of wife, mother, daughter, and friend. I have battled perfectionism, anxiety, imposter syndrome, and once over-identified with my professional contributions. And so if I were doing this presentation, honestly, a couple of years ago, the professional aspects would have come first. But I have learned that, I cannot be who I am as a professional without being me. And so I've spent the past 2-3 years just vigorously finding out who she is. I now see that who I am and what I do are not one and the same. So it allows me to find more alignment and enjoyment in my role as a founder and creative director. I have a passion for inspiring women to show up as their best selves. But I do understand that, having accepted myself as worthy is what empowers me to be able to give that back. I'm an intuitive creator and leader. And so, sometimes I'm not so structured and sometimes I am structured, but it empowers me to instinctively understand what women are seeking and desiring in their wardrobe. And I also use this gift to serve our retail partners and providing them with wardrobe options that their clients want. So ultimately, building and serving community is what drives me, and travel and movement is what grounds me and inspires me, and God and family, including my friends, is what sustains me. So if you want to drop a little hand, upheld hand or heart in the chat, just interested in how many of you have started to cultivate or have established your personal brand. There's no right or wrong answer for this, but just wondering how many of you kind of incorporate that practice and thought into your everyday. So what is a personal brand? I look at a personal brand as an intentional practice, defining and expressing your unique value and identity to the world. So how you're presenting yourself and your skill and personality in a way that resonates with your audience. I'll say for me, when I first made the transition from corporate America, I was in corporate America for about 11 years in medical sales to entrepreneurship. My personal brand was really founded and dictated by who I thought I was supposed to show up as. And, you know, if you pay attention to the feedback loop, you're like, why am I not connecting with people? Like, there seems to be something missing. And I'm like, that's because I'm not really leaning into and showing up as my full self. And therefore, maybe was not as memorable as I am now when I left the room. And ultimately, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And personal branding is not only about self-promotion, but building a legacy and consistent image that represents who you are. So what do you want people to remember you for and think about you? And what kind of impression do you want to leave after you've left the meeting, the room, the party, the dinner, etc.? And so why does it matter? And Darla and I were talking about this kind of like as we were prepping, but you know, whether you want to or not, you do have a brand. And I think it's important to take the reins and be in control of how you want to present yourself and how you want to be remembered, but increase visibility and opportunities. So there's an establishing of trust, like people know what they're going to what they can expect and what they're going to get from you with a thoughtful personal brand, and then therefore enhancing career growth and leadership. Once you kind of hone in on what you want to be known for, what cause you might want to champion, what problems you want to solve, it really makes it easy for people to identify you as a go-to or an expert in your industry. Reinforcing self-identity. A strong personal brand can help combat imposter syndrome, and this is something that I'm so passionate about. It's a high number of about 71% of upper management, CEOs, executives have experienced imposter syndrome. And in my own journey, I can definitely say I felt that the most when I was showing up as who I thought I was supposed to show up as, or what I thought I was expected, or maybe really was expected to show up as. And that resulted in a deep level of imposter syndrome because I was betraying myself. Standing out from the crowd. So standing out from the crowd in a thoughtful way and being memorable so that you can cut through the noise and attract the right people and opportunities. Going back to building trust. So the data shows that 82% consumers are 82% more likely to trust a brand or a founder that has an authentic and relatable personal brand. And I really want to touch on the relatability part, right? It's because even in my experience, when I was showing up as who I thought I was supposed to be or what was expected of me, I found that I was most relatable when I was just showing up as myself. But first I had to really get to the core of like who I am. And intentional presentation. So there's an alignment between your external style and internal values, and it creates this cohesive, again, emphasizing on that trustworthiness and empowers you to show up effortlessly and comfortable in your own skin. So a couple of points here before we continue. You are the magic. You're the secret sauce. So one of the things that I believe is as you craft your brand, you got to remove the should be and could be and approach from a place of this is who I am. and really feel confident in that, because there's going to be no other brand like yours. You're the secret sauce. Alignment, your brand is an extension of you, so remove the mask, dare to lean into the authenticity, and the aligned opportunities and relationships will find their way to you. And I'll kind of insert an anecdote here. When I was showing up in the fashion industry as who I thought I should be, really enjoying the relationships that I was attracting to me. They did not seem to really speak to the values and the purpose that I want to serve as a founder and a creator in the industry. And so as soon as I, kind of pivoted that and really decided to be aligned with myself, I was able to build a great relationship with a retailer called Stitch Fix, and just really aligned with their core values, and they appreciated, the benefits that I was bringing to the table as well. And we've had a growing 4-year relationship, and that has pivoted from even Chloe Kristyn into a new brand. So they were the first ones to say yes to this new brand, the Modern Abstract, before I even had a name for the brand. And embracing your evolution. So one thing we all know, that we're not the same women or people that we were 5 to 10 years ago, and that's okay. And so, I believe with branding, you've got to give yourself space and room to evolve, and that brand to evolve with you. And I believe that you do that in not being afraid or ashamed to tell your story, and celebrate the ways that you've evolved. So personal branding isn't just about style, but alignment with who you are on the inside. So their external appearance and style, it's a powerful reflection of your internal values. And that's why we need to be intentional about that. It's an effective way of emotional exploration and expression. And I think it's a way to really kind of feed your creative side as well. So let's go to putting it all to practice and crafting your style, and we'll have a little bit of fun with this. So, but before we kind of get to how I like to have fun crafting style, brand, and getting women to think about how they really want to present themselves, I kind of work from these principles. So your style should reflect your core values. I think that's extremely important. And so what does that mean? That means that if your core values are supporting women-owned businesses, small businesses, or your core values are sustainability, that would drive the way that you shop and the way that you style yourself. A signature style is a key to a consistent personal brand. And that goes back to that trust and consistency. So just as many of the companies that we might patronize or work for, there's a consistent logo and color scheme and consistent elements that people would associate with these companies. And the same holds true for your personal brand. And you can also use style as a form of storytelling. So your clothing can reflect where you are or what you've been through in your personal journey, and incorporating items that have a significance. So whether that's a family heirloom or, for me, I wear a lot of leopard print, and, this season it happens to be trending. And it's not because it's trending. I wear a lot of leopard print because my grandmother, it was her favorite print. And whether it was trending or not, she always would incorporate leopard print into her wardrobe. Comfort and confidence. So ensuring the fit of your clothing is suited to your body and lifestyle. One of the reasons that I created Chloe Kristyn is I was just not able as a new mom to find clothing that I felt transition from work to life. And I wanted to really make my wardrobe cohesive. And so that's why I started the brand. And I'm very passionate about making sure that we're filling our closet with pieces and crafting, building our wardrobe with pieces that can take us to different events in our life. So while, the trending item might look super cool on celebrity or influencer X, is it suited for your lifestyle? Because if it's not, you probably aren't going to wear it, and it's not going to be an extension of you. leveraging the power of colors, choosing again, going back to the leopard print story, choosing a color or print that really resonates and aligns with your brand message that you want to portray or tell, or the story you want to tell, or the emotions that you want to evoke. So for me, if I'm going to be in person or doing a presentation, I want to wear a bright, powerful color. And that's how I'm leveraging the power of colors or prints, and expressing authenticity through style choices. So no different than when I'm designing collections, and, there have been times where I've designed something and I've kind of stood back and take a look at it. And I'm like, wow, it's beautiful. That's really not me. And people can tell when you're not showing up as authentic, and they can often tell through the nonverbal cues, because you're not going to feel comfortable. So just making sure that you are being authentic all the way through your style choices. So let's have some fun. So this slide, I put up some fictional characters, movie and television characters. And taking a look at this, this is something that I like to do with clients who are really trying to figure out how they want to revamp their style, is taking a look at something like this and seeing what resonates most with them and why they want to show up that way, and really kind of determining how that aligns with the message they want to portray, or how they want to present themselves to the world. So I have Charlotte York from Sex and the City, and Samantha Jones, Villanelle from Killing Eve, and we have Olivia Pope and Meryl Streep from The Devil Wears Prada, and Tracy Ellis Ross from Blackish. She played Rainbow Johnson. And so that might be a way that, if you're kind of in this phase of kind of revamping your wardrobe, or really kind of making iterations, to just have fun and play, and do something like this to see what resonates most with you. And then we'll go through my evolution. So I'm kind of telling myself, or put myself on display here. And starting with me in the orange, that's when I first left corporate America and started the company. And I kind of was still trying to figure out like who I was and what my style was. So it's kind of very polished, buttoned up, and conservative. And then in the houndstooth, I'm like, okay, this is a great, started to kind of come into my own. So this is a great way to make something that you can wear to work fun and sassy. And then ultimately, the most recent photo of me in the plaid blazer, I still love tailoring structure, but I also like color, novelty. Again, I want my clothes to suit my lifestyle, and just to be able to move. And so I paired that with the novelty tee, denim, and some fun shoes. And now I've tried a new hairstyle. So this is my first time having this hairstyle. So I just keep iterating and iterating. The more and more comfortable I get in my own skin, and the more and more free I feel. So navigating the challenges as you begin to build and craft your personal brand. So one of the big things that I like to address is imposter syndrome. So again, about 70% of people will experience imposter syndrome at some point in their careers. But I'm very passionate about this branding aspect, because really being intentional about cultivating your strong personal brand can mitigate these feelings, because you are now in the driver's seat of identifying who you are, how you want to present yourself, and what story you want to tell, and also finding confidence. And there's only one you. There's going to be nobody else that's going to have a brand like yours. And over identifying with work and business, so that's something that I've struggled with, but I've worked to really bridge the gap of who I am on a personal level with who I am as a career woman and a founder, and being able to incorporate both of those aspects into the crafting of my personal brand. So how can we bring our full selves into our brand? So finding your unique strengths and unique value, discovering your value. So one of the things that I always talk about and recommend is reflecting on your strengths and how they can align with your brand. And then also identification of core values. One of my favorite pieces of like personal work that I've done, and I did this about 5, 6 years ago, was kind of a core values exercise, and going through and identifying what core values were, most important to me. And for me, one of my top core values is respect. And so, always being strategic about dressing in a manner that commands respect, and then also community as well. So while dressing in a manner that commands respect, also dressing in a manner that sparks conversation and that makes me approachable and relatable. And authenticity and alignment. So not just looking the part, because we can all tell when you look the part, but you're not in alignment, but being in alignment with who you are. And I think that is where you'll show up as your most comfortable and confident self. So key steps, like key takeaways to building a personal brand, is we're going to do some self-reflection, and get real with ourselves about who we are, our values, and the message that we want to project, and find out where the gaps are between those and kind of what we need to do to bridge that. Defining your unique value proposition. So what do you offer that no one else does? Are you able to see things from a big picture view and come up with solutions? Are you more of a visionary? Are you a great listener? Are you an outside the box thinker? And really getting down to what you're offering. And consistency. So ensuring that that you're consistent with your personal brand across all platforms, and whether you choose to display your brand or champion your brand on social media or not. And I personally have mixed feelings about that. I think social media is like a gift and a curse, but even in interactions, right? Like personal interactions with people or at events, presentations, mixers, just making sure there's consistency across the brand and evolving your brand. So just like you evolve, your brand should also evolve with you, and it's okay to pivot and grow. There's no right or wrong way to share your brand and your brand story with the world. Just make sure that it relates to your vision and check in with that. So measure results. And if you're not getting the results that you want, or if something just isn't sitting right with you, like it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel comfortable, don't be afraid to pivot as many times as it takes until you're comfortable and confident in how you're showing up, so you can let your light shine bright. And if you're ready to up-level your personal brand, this is something that me and my director of growth love to do, and to work with women to kind of help them piece this together, especially from the style perspective. But we are offering 20-minute consultations. So you can email our director of growth, Catherine Cassidy, at Catherine@ChloeKristyn.com. And if permitted to do so, I will pass that information along to Darla so she can share it as a follow-up with all of the attendees. And I'm excited to get to kind of the question and answers and get your feedback. But thank you so much for spending the afternoon with me and for your attention. And if you want to keep in touch, these are the ways that you can keep in touch with me.
Thank you so very much, Bettina. And I have been enjoying this whole thing and loved looking at all the ways that you are helping us understand why branding matters and how to make it, how we can just claim it as our own. Bettina and I were talking about this before everyone hopped on. You're already doing your branding right now. So what is it saying is I love what she has broken down to us, how to be intentional with it and how to make it an extension of yourself. I know here with Momentum in our classes, we do walk you through your core values. And if you've not had a chance to do that, to anyone who's watching, I highly recommend it. You can even Google it online, what core values. There's a great big list of it. It can almost be overwhelming. So you have to keep breaking it down and breaking it down. And then based off of that, how can you, Bettina, a couple of things that you said. So if my core value is, my family and interacting with family and friends. I'm just going to pull those two core values out. How can I break that down and let that be something that I own as far as like my style?
Yeah, so I mean, so a couple things jumped out when you said family and friends, right? Like I thought, okay, small owned businesses that value like community and like really trying to create a family around their brand, to being involved in that. And then when I think of family and friends, I think of I've got to go to this meeting or I've got to go to this conference, but you know what? I don't have time to change. I've got to get to the volleyball game or the practice or do this project,
Yes.
which is so real for so many of us. So it's like we want to look polished, but like it can't be fussy because we just don't have time. So.
I like that. Thanks. And that's something I always try to do. And as a mom, and I know there's a lot of women who are watching here who have daughters and sons, helping your children or even people around you, could even be coworkers, helping them to understand how to develop this style so they can be more confident when they're speaking, when they're going to interviews. Because the worst thing for someone to do is to wear an outfit that they think they're supposed to be wearing for an interview, and you're uncomfortable, and you're more worried about that outfit than you are letting yourself shine through.
You can tell. I mean, I have an 11-year-old daughter, and her style is polar opposite of mine. And I mean, I'm guilty of like, you're supposed to wear this. She's just like, I don't feel comfortable, and I'll let her get creative and put on her outfits. And as out of the box as it is to me, like you can just see just her entire energy shift when she's wearing something that she likes.
Yes. And I definitely can relate to that. And I have three daughters, and every one of their styles are different. But full disclosure, I loved it when they were all at home because like when they were seniors and juniors, I was just like, we were all in each other's closet, which I think is fun because we kind of learned what we liked and what we didn't like. And I was very blessed when I was growing up. My mom, she was this amazing seamstress. And so she made clothes for us, which was great for me because I did not fit what was going on. And with the clothes industry when I was growing up, I'm petite and I'm short waisted. And, trying to find clothes to fit was so hard. And my mother was a very sharp dresser. Even to this day in her 90s, she only shops at certain places because she wants to look very professional. And so she did help me a little bit. Um, I finding my balance has been fun too because I want it to reflect me, but I also like for it to be. I don't know. I don't want to say a sharp dresser, but I do like for it to be fun, but professionally looking nice. How do you even say all these words, Bettina?
You want to be polished.
Yes, thank
And
you.
like
Polished.
that means, I mean, there are some style fashion like influencers and professionals that I see, and I'm like, you look so cool in your oversized trousers, like almost this very sartorial, like menswear vibe, and they look so polished. And I'm like, I look silly in that. Like I like it on you. I tried it. Like I got to make it mine. So
Well, it goes back to your core values and who you are, personality. It may fit you and it looks pretty on you, but if you're not comfortable in it, it's not you. So,
exactly. I mean, that's like, again, I'm very passionate about, and Darlie brought up a good point. It's like you can tell when someone's not comfortable, and how they're showing up. And it's like there's room for all of us to show up in our authenticity. We just gotta figure out like what feels good for us.
one thing that I'd like to mention to women here, because I've dealt with this with so many of my friends before, and I like how you said, don't hesitate to pivot. If you're in a season where you're not really comfortable with your body and you're wanting to, I would love to wear some of the outfits I've seen you have on. You look amazing in them, and I could never pull it off. There are a lot of us that would love to like fit into this, do that, but we're scared to because we don't feel like because of the way we're built, it's going to look good. So the best thing I could say to anyone right now, if you're on that path of you're wanting to lose weight or get back into shape, just keep focusing on that and don't worry about where you're at right now. If you know you have an end goal, to be very confident in who you are right now, where you're at.
100%. We work a lot one-on-one with clients, and I hear the stories, about women not feeling comfortable with where they're at right now and wanting to maybe lose or, but what I always say is dress yourself for where you are now, because we don't need to punish ourselves for being ourselves. Like, your body does a lot to keep you alive. Like, let's celebrate it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that. Someone asked, do you think that styles and personal branding has changed now that so many people work from home?
Yes, I do. So I think in good ways and maybe not so good ways. So I think we got very comfortable. And I think, one thing I always say is just get dressed. Like, you could get dressed and it be very comfortable and polished. But put the leggings away.
And the
They're not
sweatpants.
pants. Like, if you want a legging, make sure it's like a ready to wear legging and not a workout legging. So yes, I do think that, psychologically it's kind of it's a reason to maybe put it on the back burner. But then as soon as we have to go somewhere or go to a meeting or a conference, it's like, oh my God, I have nothing to wear, and it's finding a way to bridge the gap of what we can wear and feel comfortable with at home, and then what we can pair it with to be ready to go when it's time for us to show up in person. But I do think that, now in the past like year or so, I've seen women, they're ready to get dressed again, because not putting effort into how you're showing up, because even if you're at home, you still got to show up for yourself. So
Yes.
not putting effort into how you're showing up and not being intentional about it, doesn't make them feel well. And so now they're ready to kind of be more intentional about how they're showing up and be more cognizant of getting dressed.
Yes, that is true. And I found, when all of that happened, when 2020 hit and everybody was like on Zoom, I even saw the styles change on that. And I love seeing how we're coming back, having fun, dressing up and being a little more dressy, but not going to the extreme. I feel like I think everybody's trying to find a higher end of the what they were doing from home. Um, and also, Delphine Carter was asking about shoes. So, how do what shoes are considered professional now? And how do we use the shoes? Because I've seen the styles of shoes change to comfortable, but very, very beautiful shoes too. So, if I'm going to go give a speech, how do I get away with wearing some really comfortable shoes without them being tennis shoes? Or is that acceptable now?
Yeah, I mean, me and shoes, we kind of had a little bit of a moment, because like coming out of COVID, it's like they were getting a little weird. I mean, like the heels were lower, but the styles were,
Clunky.
I don't know, just yeah, clunky. It's just very avant-garde. But again, I will still wear a pump. I love a pump. I think one of the things that we're seeing on the market, now too, is lower heels and more blocky heels. And then another thing that I love that we're seeing on the market, just a really sartorial style, is like the loafer, kind of like with a
Yes.
heel, but it still makes it very feminine. And then, I recently, I would say probably about 5 years ago, the only tennis shoes that I had in my closet were for working out. And now, like, I love a fashion tennis shoe. And so
Everywhere.
I think it's so cool to have, the plaid suit. I don't know if y'all remember, but when I showed that plaid blazer that I was wearing, and it's got the matching pant, and then put on a cool sneaker with that. And I think that looks amazing. So there are several brands that make like casual, ready to wear sneakers that aren't workout
Right.
sneakers. Yeah.
I remember my youngest daughter when she was a senior. That's when all the Converse, all the different styles, all the different colors of Converse were out, and they loved that, and they would wear that with their dresses and their skirts. And one pair that my daughter had was the clear Converse, and she would find fun socks to wear that would
Mm-hmm.
with the shoes. And I just thought how fun that all looked.
I have to brag about, so some of you probably know her. but Tequila Smith, that's her. She has an outfit. She's an executive, and she has this tweed dress and jacket that we designed last spring, and she wore it with like a white tennis shoe. It was so cute.
Love it.
It's to a professional event. I was like, very well done. It's so it was so cute. But you could also dress it up, you know. So
I love that. And oh, and thanks, Lindsay. She was talking about finding shoes that are feminine and comfortable. And I think there's so much more on the market now. Like you said, at first it was kind of like man-looking shoes, and now it's coming into the stylish tennis shoes is coming into the stylish, pretty feminine loafers. And I love that. So I'm going to ask something here. So if I'm going to go online, because a lot more and more stores are closing, brick and mortars are. I went to here in Birmingham, we have a Talbot's. Well, we did until 2 weekends ago. They're shut down now. And
mm-hmm.
so just going by stores is great to physically try on stuff. What do you suggest for us as we are trying to find and navigate? I'm online. How do I know what to pick and wear so I don't have to keep sending so many things back? I mean, how do you help us on that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you also did the Stitch Fix and you understand
Mm-hmm.
styling and online things.
So yes, so if there are brands that you've liked, that you've, you know, in your brand discovery process, that you know you like from multi brand retailers, you know, you can shop those brands at any of the retailers that would carry them online. Just make sure they have a good return policy. You know, I'm kind of the mind. I'm very busy, just like I'm sure all of you are, and so you know, I'm gonna have to, if I want to try something new, I'm gonna have to buy it from a place I can return it, try it on at home, see if it works, what doesn't work, if I need to up a size or down a size. I think services, so like with Chloe Kristyn, we offer the style edit, and so that is a one-on-one conversation between us and the client, and we put together an edit box to ship to you to try on in the comfort of your own home, and you simply send back what you don't want and keep what you do. And then there are services like Stitch Fix and the Daily Look, where they send you a box, and it's kind of the same. You know, they get all of your data and information, and they send you a box, and you try the pieces that you like and send back what you don't. And what I do like about the services, especially with Stitch Fix, is that there is a human stylist on the other end that you can give your feedback to. So if you want less, you know, less black or navy, or you never want black or navy, or you're looking for something for a wedding, you can communicate that information for them to be able to help and assist.
That's nice to know. That is. One thing that I want to share with everybody who didn't hear us at first, when we were getting ready for a conference this year, she was phenomenal. Sent a huge, I mean, it was the size of like a wedding dress box where you had she had previously asked us, you know, what are your sizes? What are your measurements? What are your favorite colors? And she sent all of us an edit box, I guess, because you had different things. You had suits, you had dresses, you had
Mm-hmm.
pants and blouses and tops, and just they were all beautiful. Her material, her fabric, her styling, this how she does things, y'all. It is really off the charts. You need to go look at all of this. But we all felt so special. It was like Christmas here. We were all going like, oh, we got a box of clothes. We had so much fun trying it on, and I was amazed at how well clothes fit when you have the right material and you know what you're doing. I've just got to say that right now. It's not like going into some of the stores where you just try whatever they had. You truly thought of us. You listened to us, and I can't say enough of that about that. And thank you so much. And our Katie Hanna, she chose one of the dresses you designed for her. It was is a plum color.
So the magenta Maggie, oh my gosh,
She looks
she was floating through the
was. Loved it. It was comfortable, and she's worn it, hasn't she, Lindsay? She's worn it a couple of other events, and it's just a go-to dress for her. So, and she had so many compliments on her, and you know, as women, we do enjoy that. We don't. I'm not saying it's for vanity, but it's always nice to have another woman say, "Wow, girl, you look so good today." That just really does help you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a little cosign, like a little nudge back to what I was saying about like, you're going to feel it when you kind of lock into like creating that authenticity with how you're presenting yourself because you're going to feel good. It's going to kind of be like, oh, like I am feeling good today. Like the compliment's nice, but it's not a surprise, you know? So,
Yes. Thank you for noticing. Yeah.
yeah.
So I want to mention something now we also talked about when we first got started today. If y'all will notice the buttons on Bettina's dress, tell us about that or blouse.
It's a dress. So these are our logo buttons for Chloe Kristyn. So as opposed to putting a just a regular like gold button on there, I wanted to take the logo and incorporate it into the buttons because it is so distinctive. And this logo really does symbolize it's like an infinity sign and hearts, like so the infinite love that we have for ourselves. And then these earrings are from Ex Voto Vintage, so they're local to Birmingham area. So I'm, again, very passionate about supporting small and women-owned businesses. So I do try to like incorporate that into aspects of my wardrobe as well.
Thank you. You do a beautiful job of it. Now, you started in Atlanta, based in Atlanta.
So yes, we are based in Atlanta. And I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, so but based in Atlanta, and this is where we've been since 2016. And I started the business right around 2016 and went full time in 2018.
Wow. So you stepped out on your own too, didn't you?
I did, yes, it was a big leap, and I can say maybe a time or two I've looked back.
So,
But
as an entrepreneur, because I know there's some women on here, we're very grateful for entrepreneurs and corporate. I think we need a great balance of both. But as an entrepreneur, what's one thing that you suggest for women who are like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to step out on my own"?
yeah, so there's never going to be a right time as it pertains to the way that you feel about it. Like you're going to have to do it scared unless you have, a huge like safety net or, resources, you know, with you. But I would definitely say like, don't wait on, if I do this enough or make enough notes or do another business plan or 20 that like I'm finally going to feel comfortable. I mean, it's a big decision, but then also prepare, like, make sure you're prepared mentally and I would say even physically and financially to make that leap. And, um, one of the mistakes that I made is I kind of really wanted like this validation that I was doing the right thing from outside of myself. So it's like whether it's feedback from customers or clients or the industry or family, and that lies with you. It's never going to be enough coming from anybody else. It really has to be a personal knowing and decision, and just knowing that you're providing something unique to the world. And I would also say I would not be the woman that I am today had it not been for that decision. So that's just the path that I had to take to get to her.
I love that. And thank you for doing the hard thing because we get to benefit from it. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here today. Does anyone have any other questions before we end our day today? Um, Once again, I want to thank our sponsors while we're waiting to see if anyone has a question. Thank you for our sponsors. They are amazing. And if you've ever thought of possibly being a sponsor here with us at Momentum, please just give us a call, reach out to us. We'd love to have you partner with us because you get to be a part of women like Bettina and get to pour into women all over. We are so excited every week when we see the women that we're able to reach, Bettina, that are everywhere. We are grateful for the women we reach here in Birmingham and also in the Huntsville because we have such a growth that is going on there with momentum. But women and a lot of other places that don't get any training at all. We are their training. So we want to thank them for hopping on and listening. And I appreciate you taking time to pour into women and help us so much with our branding. I love what you said about don't hesitate to pivot. That is something I feel like we need to have permission. and grow ourselves, grow our style, but take time to know your core values and add that into your daily life. And thank you so much for today.
Thank you again for having me, and thank you everyone for joining and listening. And I hope that if you all have any questions or you're in the middle of a pivot, or please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to connect with you. And thank you, Darla, and again, your team for the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Momentum's virtual trainings are made possible with the support of Protective Life, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama, and America's Thrift. Find the full list of sponsors as well as additional resources for women leaders on our website at momentumleaders.org. Thanks for taking the time to invest in you, and remember to like, subscribe, and share our channel. We love reading thoughts and comments, so you can leave those for us here too. You can also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn by searching at Momentum Leaders.